Welcome back. I'm Adam, functional bodybuilding coach and physical therapist. Today we're going to go through a full body mobility routine, some active movements, some passive movements. So we're going to start working on the wrists. We're going to start with a wrist extension stretch. So from a kneeling position, hands or palms are going to be facing towards the floor, fingers are going to be pointed backwards, and then I'm just going to sink back, stretching through the front of my forearm here. Okay? I'm just going to hold about a minute in this stretch position. Trying to keep those elbows as straight as you can, trying to keep those hands flat to the ground, continually sinking back into this position to stretch through the front of those forearms. Almost to the end of the minute. Holding, working that stretch, and then ease out of that position. We're just going to flip the arms around, palms are going to be facing up, and then now I'm going to be stretching through the opposite side of the forearm. Okay, wrist is in a flexion position, and I'm just going to kind of sink my butt back, really pull through the front of those forearms. Again, going to hold for about a minute. Again, trying to keep the elbows as straight as you can, really isolating the stretch to the wrist. Holding, keep relaxing into this position, keep allowing those forearms to stretch. Just there. And relax out of that position. Okay, just did a couple passive stretches for the wrists. Then we're just going to do some active circles. So elbows are going to be straight, arms are going to be straight out in front of you. We're going to make a fist. And then we're going to bring the palms down as far as we can. They're going to start to move out to the outside. I'm going to bring my wrists back into as much extension as possible towards the inside, and then just continue that circle. Nice, slow, and control. We're just going to go this one direction, and we're going to do about 10 of them. Try to keep those elbows straight. Try to isolate that movement to the wrist. Keeping some tension in that hand. More. And let's go one more. Perfect. Okay, we're going to go from our down dog position now to up dog. So just transitioning between those two positions, working on the shoulders, working on some of the hamstrings, working on some of the anterior line, hip flexors, abdominals. So doing a lot with these two positions. So we're going to start in the down dog position. Just going to pedal the legs a little bit, stretch through the hamstrings. You can kind of freestyle in this position if you want, depending on what feels good. And then I'm going to switch to my up dog position. Again, same thing. You can wiggle around a little bit, try to feel what feels good. Hold for a few seconds, and then switch back. Just going to do about 5 each position. This will be a nice little shoulder warm up for our next couple drills. Okay. Go about one more in each position. Okay, for our next drill, we're gonna go onto the stomach. We're gonna be working the muscles on the back side of the shoulder. So the arms are just gonna be out to the side. Elbow will be straight out to the side from the shoulder. From here, I'm gonna try to lift my hands away from the floor, keeping the elbow on the ground, working that external rotation in the shoulder. If you can't lift off the ground, that's okay. What we really wanna focus on is the contraction, or sort of the tension in the muscle on the back of the shoulder. So again, arms are gonna be straight out to my side, elbows are gonna stay on the ground, and I'm gonna try to lift my fist away from the floor. So ready? I'm gonna lift and hold, and bring it back down, okay? I'm gonna go for 5, holding for about 5 seconds in that top position. So I lift, and bring it back down. That whole time I'm holding in the top position, I'm pushing as hard as I comfortably can, lifting my arms away from the floor as much as I comfortably can. Ready? Number 3, I lift and hold, and ease it back down. Ready? Number 4, lift, hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back down. One more. Ready? Lift as high as you can, hold as hard as you can. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax back down. We're gonna stay in this prone position for our next drill. On this one, I'm gonna use a band. You can also use a PVC pipe for this exercise. Whatever you have available to you, whatever's a little bit more comfortable for you. So the arms are gonna start out in front, and then I'm gonna do a pass through all the way till the band hits my butt or hits my lower back. So I lift up, I bring the band back, touch the butt, and then bring it back to my starting position. Okay, we're gonna do about 10 pass throughs. So I lift up, and then I come all the way back around. To start this motion, think about using the same muscles we just did the external rotation with. Squeeze those muscles on the back side of the shoulder to initiate this movement. So I squeeze them, lift, and then I continue my big pass-through motion and sort of allow the band or the PVC pipe to stretch me out. Okay, initiate with the back of the shoulders, and then pass through all the way to the back and bring it back. All right, let's keep going. We'll do about 5 or 6 more. If you're using a PVC pipe, or even if you're using the resistance band, you can keep trying to walk your hands in a little bit closer, get a little bit more aggressive of a stretch through that shoulder. Okay, a couple more. And we'll go one more. All right. Give the shoulders a little bit break. We're gonna move into the hips. So we're gonna go into our butterfly stretch position. So butterfly stretch position, if you have a wall, probably be even a little bit more ideal to have a wall behind you, just so you can monitor your low back position. If you don't, that's okay. Feet are gonna be in front of you, knees are gonna be out to the side. I'm gonna grab on underneath my feet, and then instead of doing a passive stretch in this position, which we've done in the past, I'm gonna just fold my spine forward, trying to get my nose or my head as close to my feet as possible. So I pull myself down. Now from this position, what I also wanna do is drive my knees down towards the floor. So I pull my head to my feet, and then I drive my knees down to the floor. So pull, push the knees down to the floor, hold for a few seconds, and then bring it back up, okay? Do about 5 of these, taking a second in between. Again, pull myself down, push my knees towards the floor, keep trying to pull myself down, push the knees to the floor, and then I come back up. Okay, I'm gonna do about 3 more. Pull yourself down, push your knees down towards the floor. Really push those knees, push those knees, push those knees, trying to get them to touch the floor. And then come back up. Okay, 2 more. Push the knees down, pulling myself towards my feet. And 1 more. Ready, pull yourself down, make this one the best one. See if you can touch those knees to the floor. Push them, push them, push them. And relax out of that position. Okay, we're gonna flip over. I'm gonna be sitting on the butt, feet are gonna be flat. We're gonna go to a hip lift and a reach with the arm over the top to stretch through the hip flexors and a little bit through the abdominals, even up all the way into the lat, sort of this whole anterior line. So I'm gonna push my feet into the floor like I'm doing a hip bridge. One arm is gonna be planted behind me, and then I'm gonna reach the arm up and over the top, really lift my hips up, and then I'm gonna bring my butt back down, okay? Do about 5 on this side, 5 on the other side. Reach my arm up, hips come up. And then we're gonna switch sides. Just go as far as you comfortably can on this movement, okay? Opposite arm is gonna come behind. I'm gonna start by pushing my feet through the floor. Hand starts between my leg. I reach up and over. Hips come all the way up. And again, when I'm in this top position, I'm trying to feel that pull through the hip flexors, through my abdomen region. Two more. And back down. All right. Now, we're gonna move into a half kneeling position. Half kneeling position is like so. This is my half kneeling position. From here, I'm gonna straighten my front leg. From here, I'm then gonna tilt my pelvis forward as far as I can, taking out that slack from the hamstring, and then I'm gonna lean forward slightly until I feel that pull through the hamstring, okay? Now here we're gonna hold for about a minute on each side. If this is challenging for you to hold, just grab some object to hold onto. So I'm gonna use this object to balance onto. I'm just gonna switch sides just so you can see a little bit better. Front leg is straight, and then I'm just gonna hinge forward, stretching through the hamstring on this front leg, okay? Notice my back is staying in a flat position. I'm not allowing my back to round. Here I then lose all my stretch in the hamstring. So back is arched, pelvis is tilted forward, stretching through that hamstring. Okay, we're gonna hang here for the remainder of the minute before we switch sides. Keep trying to keep that chest up. Keep feeling that stretch through the hamstring. Keep your toes pointed up towards you. And ease out of that side. We're going to switch to the other side. Okay, I'm going to move my block here just so I can balance a little bit better. Again, if you don't have a block or your balance is really good, you don't need it. Okay, you can do the same stretch without the block, just keeping that back in a good position. Keep focusing on that pull through the hamstring. Again, I'm going to use my block so that I can ease into this position a little bit more. Really focus on a deeper stretch through that hamstring. back is staying upright. Still exhaling, still focusing on my breathing during this stretch. As I exhale, sinking into this stretch a little bit deeper. See if I can get an even a little bit more intense stretch through the hamstrings. Okay, closing in on the minute. A couple more exhales. Checking in with that back, make sure it's still upright. One more exhale. And ease out of this position. I'm going to keep my block here. I'm going to use it for my next stretch, again, for a little bit of balance so I can really focus on the stretch. We're going to now go to a half kneeling hip flexor stretch. So again, this is my half kneeling position. I'm going to walk this front foot a little bit farther forward. I'm then going to sink my back hip forward towards the ground, really leaning in and forward towards this front leg to stretch through the back hip flexors. Okay, I'm going to hold in this position. We're going to spend about a minute total in this position with a couple different options. First option, you can just hang out in this position. Just stretch through those hip flexors, really relaxing, trying to get that hip lower and lower throughout the whole minute. Second option, we can take this arm, reach up and over, almost a little bit backwards, really pulling, again, through this anterior line, through my hip flexors, through my quad, even through my abdominals a little bit, okay? I'm gonna do a few reaches. I'm gonna do about 5 on each side. Or again, if you're doing a passive stretch, just hold for about a minute. So I'm gonna reach up, nice and slow, controlled. Bring it back down. Reach up, and bring it back down. Reach up and over. One more. Awesome. Okay, we're going to switch sides. Bring that front leg far forward. Sink into this front leg, stretching through the back hip. Again, I'll show you maybe without the block this time so you can see a little bit better position here. I'm going to reach up and over, really pulling through this whole anterior line right here. We're going to go one more. And ease out of that position. Okay. All right, we're going to move now. Staying on the hips, moving into the pancake stretch position. One of my personal favorite stretches. Feet are going to come out to the side. Again, I use my hands, push myself to scoop my hips a little bit farther forward. It is hard to actively pull the legs out wide, so I just use my hands to push my hips forward, making my feet move out a little bit so I can get into a little deeper pancake position. So my first stretch, I'm gonna pull myself down towards one leg. So if you can, grabbing on to the foot with both hands and then pulling your face towards your knee. Okay? If you can't grab onto the foot, that's okay. Just try to lean your torso over this leg. Pulling a little bit more through these hamstrings on the side that you're leaning towards. So again, we're gonna hold here about a minute, really trying to relax into this position. As I exhale, I'm trying to keep pulling myself farther and farther towards my knee. If you can, give yourself a little kiss on the knee. Just proving you can get down there. If not, it's okay. Spend more time in this position. You'll get better and better at it. All right, I'm gonna go same thing on the opposite side now. Reach towards my foot, pull myself down towards my foot. Just like any of these stretches, I'll allow you a little bit of freestyling if it feels a little bit better to lean one way, rotate one way. Try to feel around each position that we work on. See if you can notice you get a little better stretch with just slight deviations of the position we're working on. For example, in this one, instead of reaching both hands to the foot or both hands to the legs, see if you can bring both hands to one side of the foot and kind of twist your torso to really pull through this back side on the opposite side, okay? Through those QLs. Kind of just pull yourself down, stretch through those QLs, still stretching through this hamstring. Now I'm getting a little bit of different pull in my back on this opposite side. So either one, whatever feels better. You can go this option, or you can just pull yourself straight down towards the knee, just like we did on the other side. And then keep focusing on my breathing, keep exhaling, keep trying to pull myself lower towards the leg. Okay. Now we're gonna come towards the center. Again, same idea. We're gonna try to get as flat as we can, which is why we call this the pancake stretch. But let's start this stretch trying to keep the back in a good position. So my legs are out wide. I'm leaning forward from my hip, but my spine is not too rounded. I'm trying to keep my chest just a little bit upright, just a slightly different stretch. I'll turn to the side just so you can see what I'm talking about with my back position. So my legs are out wide. I'm gonna put my hands forward in front of me, and then I'm gonna start to lean my torso or my body weight forward without letting my back just fall into this rounded position. So just like we did on both sides, we're gonna hold for about a minute. Keep checking in with that chest. Keep checking in with that low back, making sure it's pretty straight. Should feel some pulling, maybe through the hamstrings or through the adductors, through the inside of the thigh. Couple more exhales. Exhale. And ease out of that position. Okay, we're gonna now go maybe to my second favorite stretch. If the pancake is my first, we're gonna go to a reclining hero pose, similar to a saddle pose. Again, we're gonna be focusing on stretching through the hip flexors, through this anterior line, which we've done quite a few stretches on today. I'm gonna use this block to support my back. If you're really mobile, you have a lot of good length through the front side, through your hip flexors, you may be able to lay the back all the way to the floor. There's a couple different ways you can do this. You can use an object like this. This is about knee height. You can stack yoga blocks to rest your upper back on or rest your head on. You can even use a band to hold on to. I can kind of hold on to a band here and slowly lower my back. So again, I'm gonna use this block behind me so I can really just relax into this position. Stretching through my hip flexors. I'm gonna bring my arms up over my head and just kind of relax in this position. Again, feeling this stretch through the front side of my abdominal muscles, through my hip flexors, maybe even into the quads. You can just relax the arms behind the head, relax them to your side. You can bring them over top like I have done, just so you can get a little bit more stretch through this front line. Again, we're gonna just hold for about a minute. With this stretch, if the first 30 seconds seems really hard, and then you keep exhaling, keep sinking, keep relaxing in this position, it starts to get easy. You can switch blocks, you can lower whatever object you have, find a smaller object to see if you can keep sinking lower and lower into this position. Okay, I'm just gonna keep hanging out with this height. I'm gonna keep squeezing my glutes, lifting my hips up to really pull through those hip flexors. Exhaling. Couple more breath cycles. And we'll go one more. Exhale in and out. Okay. You come out of that position nice and easy. Do just one more drill for today in a very similar position. So we're just going to do some active motion through that reclining hero pose, doing a reverse Nordic. So again, you can use the object, I would suggest using the object that you were just using, or if you were using a band, you can use that same band. But we're just going to start in this top position, and we're just going to slowly lower with control to that object. Relax for a second, and then come out of that position. So while I'm doing this motion, I'm driving my feet and my shins down into the floor just to keep a little activation through my quads. So I sink back, relax, and then I push my shins and my feet to really help myself come out of that position. Okay, we're just gonna do about 5. If this is uncomfortable or painful, you can do a very similar motion, but just a little bit more hinge at the hips. So I'll show you a little bit of a regression. I'm just gonna kind of sink my butt down towards my heels, and then I'm gonna lean back instead of keeping those hips straight the whole time. So again, I just sink my butt towards my heels, then I lean back into my stretch position, and then I come back up. So either option, straight down like so, keeping the hips up, or hips go first, sink the butt towards the heel, then I lean back and get that nice stretch. So let's just do a couple more. And I'm gonna go one more. Okay, here's a nice full body routine for you. If you liked any of those stretches, try to just implement them a little bit more through your day-to-day. Maybe just take 1 or 2 of these, try to throw it in your routine tomorrow.